let's flip a coin. Head Carolina, tails California, somewhere greener, somewhere warmer.
Okay, it's Andy Graham of hoboontheroad.com. I'm in Antalya, Turkey, a very cold place here, November 18th. They have winter here, guys. This is not an all-year-round place to come. We went to the beach yesterday and nobody took off their jackets, right? It's about November 18th, and it's only going to get worse, right? So, as far as I could tell, there's probably no place in Europe where you actually get to hang out in the swimming pool all year round in a completely comfortable sense. But I'm traveled nonstop for 16 plus years. It's an Ask Andy show. I've gone to 106 countries, and I got a question, not really a question. Eric, one of my long-term readers, maybe 10 years or something, we're having a dialogue between emails. Some of these friends, they become friends, and we write more intimate type questions, more germane and personal, and talking about who he is, who I am, and do it. And this is one reason to get verified, is because if you want to get on the line where you're going to get me on the thing, and especially if I don't really like you that well, you need to be verified and give me something quid pro quo you got to give back to me. Okay, and then I will answer your questions on a more thing, and I won't cut you loose so quick. And inside the community, that's what the goal is. I don't cut you loose. I answer your questions so not for the benefit of you, for the benefit of everybody. So when you post those comments on Web Hobo Traveler, not just write me an email, I'm much more willing to answer it because it's benefiting the whole community. When you just write me a personal email like it's between me and you, I don't want to answer it, so I'll only make videos. And if I won't reply back to you by an email, get a life. That's because you're basically trying to get this friendship with me at the expense of the community. But a verified member, I do it. People that I really like, I write them all the time, no matter what. So it's about having relationships. But Eric is talking about airplane flights, and I replied by email about how to get cheap flights. And I wrote, there's three major ways we get cheap tickets. One, charter flights. Charter flights are like cook flights. Cook is one of the big things. Charter flights are places where German ladies are flying to the Gambia, or there's a charter flight from Sweden all the time to Thailand in certain years. There's charter flights all around, and if you can figure out the system, one of the ways that you can really understand it, and I can always remember this website because I'm using the thing, it's called jetairfly.com. jetairfly.com. If you get on there, you'll see that they have all these routes, and they're all charter routes because they're going straight to the tourist destination, and they give them real cheap. So what happens is a tour operator puts together a package, and then he fills up the plane with his tour package, and then he sells a few extra tickets to fill it up. That's where I buy. I buy the extra tickets where they didn't have quite enough people on the tour to go, and that's so you can get on there. And then they can get one-way tickets because they may have different people going half the way, then doing different things, and so whatever. But Jet Air Fly is a big deal because I can fly from Brussels to Dominican Republic to a tourist destination for Europeans for $150. So this is the first way. The second way I do it is low-cost carriers. I get on Wikipedia, and if you get on Wikipedia and you search for list of low-cost carriers, LCC. Don't do LCC. You got a list of low-cost carriers. Even any kind of search in Google brings us up first, because Wikipedia is always first, right? They have an inside deal with Google. Google gives them preference. That's my opinion, guys. You search for that, and what it'll show you, all the low-cost carriers separated by country, which really don't mean anything, but because Wizz Air might be out of Hungary, but it services 30 different cities, so you have to check their routes. Then you check Pegasus route, then you check Ryanair's route, then you check Spirit Air's route. You check all these different routes of low-cost carriers, and low-cost carriers are not always in Kayak or Skyscanner or these things, or Expedia, and so they're not always in there. And if it's a starter airline that just got started, for sure they're not. And there's also airlines that are low-cost carriers that do just 2 destinations, like Antalya, Trabzon. I think I was on Sun Express, and I think it was a 2 or 3 destination airline. I mean, they just have one airplane that goes back and forth like a shuttle, right? And the way you can find that is by going to the airport. You go to the airport and there's all these little airlines listed there, and you go, where did they come from? So sometimes if you're going to the same thing, like you're a 3-country person, like a Thailand, Philippines, Cambodia person, you go to the airport and figure out all these little airlines are and get an actual connection, and you can bypass the internet, because the internet is always trying to lead you astray. It's a cesspool. The CEO of Google says it correctly. It's a cesspool of misinformation. It has caused more people to lose money than any place I've ever seen. Okay, the third one I said here, I don't even know what it is. Going to the airport website. Okay. If you're flying out of Chicago, you can usually go to the Chicago airport website, and it'll list all the airlines that service Chicago, which would be quite a lot, right? But say I'm here in Antalya, I go to the Antalya Wikipedia website. First you go to Wikipedia and say Antalya Airport, you get the name of the airport, you want to fly from that airport, or you go to, they will give you the actual link to the website for that airport, because a lot of times people are pretending to be the website for that airport, right? So you don't know. You can get on a website and you're spending all your time trying to figure out. So I go to Wikipedia first, I figure out the information on the thing, and sometimes they'll list out the majority of the airports, but it's up to the editors. There's no editor saying you didn't finish the project on Wikipedia, so they can do half a job, right? So you want to know all the airlines. So you get there, and then you go to the website for the airport, and you figure out all the airlines that fly in out of there, and then you go track each one of them and see if there's cheap fares. And you can't do it. Now, in the USA, this is often extremely difficult because it's almost a monopoly in the United States. I can fly to Europe almost on every major city for $600. It doesn't vary, right? So I got to get the one airline that doesn't agree to be part of the cartel, which is what I got on a Norwegian Air, and they do it for $200. But it was half a charter flight, right? Because charters will bypass the American cartel in a way. I really consider that they're price fixing, okay? They got it so that, and the airline price fixes it too. They don't want you to figure out any strategy. Flying from Florida to Guatemala and flying from Chicago to Guatemala is the same price. It doesn't make sense. One's got 2 flights. You stop over in Fort Lauderdale and go, or you go directly from Fort Lauderdale. They don't give you a discount. But there might be a little airport specific thing that would give me a discount if I flew out of Fort Lauderdale. And a lot of times, truthfully, there are airlines that are being advertised in the Sunday travel section or inside the airport or things like that, that you got to discover all those little things that don't make it to your easy point of view. And that's what I'm trying to get. The point of this thing is there, if it's really easy, it's probably not the cheap thing. But I know you want easy, but that's not it. And at the end of the way, to get the cheapest flights, which is way beyond the average work capacity of a person, is to check and search on 4 or 5 different search engines like Skyscanner, and I use Skyscanner and Kayak the most, and Expedia. I would get on those things and check at 5 in the morning, 10 at night. You know, I check it 8 times a day, checking the prices and see if somebody unloads a cheap thing. And what you can find out is, one time, right before a certain thing, they need to liquidate some tickets, and they drop a ticket in there for half price just to get the plane full. That's how the Air Consolidator tickets used to work. Now they just drop them into these aggregator sites and unload the ticket. And if you're checking it, like especially right after midnight when the tickets are, you know, they put them on hold, the travel agents put them on hold, and they have to let go of them, you might be able to get a cheap ticket. Okay, I should stop this because I'm rambling. Andy Graham, hobotraveler.com. Get on my website. Go to hobotraveler.com, click on Andy's travel blog, put your email in the thing, and you can get updates by email every day. You might actually become friends with me. You might actually get my consulting fee of $50 for free. And of course you can get it for free if you ask the question, but what you're not going to do is you're not going to ever get that personalized, I understand who you are, and that's the reason why people should pay consulting fees or get verified or whatever, is because at the end of the day, we're not all the same. It's not one-stop shopping when you travel. You have specific problems that you need to address. And you can keep asking questions, and it might take 2 years, and my readers will all benefit. But there's times when you want just to get to the point and not waste time. Okay, Andy Graham, hobotraveler.com. Please get verified, because we don't want strangers talking to strangers giving advice on how to go halfway across the planet. We want people that are willing to stand up and be who they are and say, this is my opinion on how to go across the planet.